All right, everybody, so this is part 2. We covered this on Friday. Make sure you guys study up. This is more about understanding word problems and their associations with numbers and making sure you guys don't freak out when you read stuff. This will be pretty quick. Dr. West and Coy saw 130 patients in 1 week. Dr. West saw 23 more patients than Dr. Coy. That statement is a very important statement in relation to this problem. Dr. West saw 23 more. So what you guys need to understand when you read this is that who saw more patients? On your notes, please make sure you know it'd be Dr. West saw more. That's very important to understand. He saw more. He or she saw more patients. Okay? So when Dr. West saw those patients, it's also what you guys got to understand is 23 more patients. More is always illustrated as a plus. So what that means is that B and D have to be taken out of consideration right away in this example. And so now you're left with A or C. The bottom equations are exactly the same. So you're focusing more on these two equations right here and which one is different. And so what I wanted you guys to understand when I said you write this down is kind of grasp the concept of throw any number. Do I really care about the 130 right now? No, I don't. What I care about is that you get the right equation. So what I want you to do is throw in a number into this equation. So into both W and C. So what we're going to do is we're going to just throw in a number, and I'll pick for ease 10. So we're going to put 10 here, and then we're going to put 10 here. And so what you would do is this would be 10 plus 23, which is what? 33. Okay, and then this would be 10 plus 23, which is 33. Okay, so what you're saying, let me rewrite that. What you're saying essentially is Dr. W, which is Dr. West, had 10 patients and Dr. Coy had 33. Or is it Dr. Coy had 10 and Dr. West had 33? Well, we know Dr. West saw more patients, so this has to be the equation. That is how I want you to approach this situation. Fill in the blanks, figure things out, and work accordingly. An economics class formed a company to sell school supplies. They would like to sell at least 40 pens and notebooks on the first day. So we're going to stop at that point. So they want to sell at least 40 pens and notebooks. This is a plus sign because of the word and when you're combining something together like peanut butter and jelly. Those are two things that go together. All right? So what that means is that if you have just P and N together, it needs to be these two, and that B and A are no longer relevant. So now, once again, you're down to two problems. And it says they want to sell at least 40. So what you have to look at is the signs and say, what does at least mean? Well, the analogy I used in school all day was asking you or thinking about if you're getting ready to go to a game here at school or to a movie or something like that, you would walk up to your parents, and how many of you guys have ever said, hey, I'd like at least $8, please, so I can go to the game at school. Are you asking them for less than 8, or do you want actually 8 or more? The reality is if you go up to them and say, hey, I want to have at least $8, you guys know you're shooting for what? A number greater than 8, which wouldn't be C. We're looking for a number greater than 40. The function below models the average salary earned by school employees T years after being hired. What does the number 40,000 represent in this particular equation? It is their initial base salary. The whole equation is the average. This is the initial base. And this would actually be in the form of y equals b plus mx. It's a little backwards, but just go with it. And then 1,500 would be the rate per, wait, hold on, it's the annual rate, not per, it's been a long day, annual rate increase. Okay, I couldn't remember how I was writing that. Annual rate increase. So every year you add on 1,500. So if you work 3 years, that'd be $4,500. The function below is used to model the number of donuts left and n minutes after opening. So what does 200 represent? See the initial amount. Usually what happens, guys, is the B in this is your initial amount of something, okay? So this would be your B setup, understand that philosophy on it. And then what does the number -4 represent? It represents rate at which you sell the donuts. Okay? Now you have another functionality here. This one here talks about the model relationship between marketing costs and sales. What does the number 60 represent? Here's what it represents. The amount of money you will lose is 60 million if you do not advertise, or I'll say market your product. Hopefully you guys can read my hand writing. What does the number 8 represent? Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is the rate to advertise. Or how much you'd spend on marketing. Doesn't really matter because it's talking about sales, but how much you sell here would go in here, and then it would offset the marketing cost. So know that if you do not market your product, you're actually going to lose $60 million. That's an important key aspect to know. All right, Braden has 2 jobs. 15:25 shoveling cow poop out of the barn, and 11:50 playing video games. I want you to understand that we're looking for an inequality to talk about him making at least $200. By looking at that, and you look at all these equations, you should know that this cannot be the answer because where's my money? And this cannot be the answer because I'm not asking you to multiply this times this times this. No, that's not how you do the hourly rate because that's a combined rate of $26.75. That would be too high. So you're adding them together. Now, once again, you're looking, which one is it? If you're looking to earn at least $200, you're looking at earning more than that, okay? Or a larger amount than 200. So it would be the letter B. Martha is going to deposit $30 in her bank, and each month after the 12 months, Martha will deposit $30 into the account each month after the first 12 months. Martha wrote the following equation to calculate the amount of money she will receive from the bank. Okay, so she's sitting there and she's going to throw some money into the bank. She wrote this equation out. Now, what you guys need to understand, and this is money, this is real. The bank is going to give it to her. So we're looking for a reasonable domain, which is on the M value, which is the time frame, okay, horizontal time. Pick a number between 0 and 12. So if it's given multiple choice, just pick a random number. So in class, we did pick 10 today in one of my classes. I can't remember which one. So if you were to solve this out, this would be 10 minus 12, which would be 30 times -2, which is in fact -60, okay? -60 is not money you're receiving from the bank. So that's not realistic. So what you're looking for is a number that makes it so that you can't have that an answer. You're looking for a number that finally creates this, a 30. And what's the only number up here that's going to create the 30? It is 13. Because 13 minus 12 is 1. 30 times 1 is 30. There's your answer. What is the domain and range of this function shown in the graph below? This is a quadratic equation. Okay, we had talked about quadratics before and how they balloon open and they never stop going outwards. So on here, you guys need to know, we had talked about in my class the old wrestling faction in the WWE called Degeneration X. So I call them DX. And so for the domain, that is equivalent to the X function. Okay, so horizontally speaking on the X function, does this graph ever stop? And the answer is no. It equals all real numbers. It always does. Okay, the only exception to the rule is if this graph is turned sideways and you graph it like that. then the domain is not all real numbers. But for our purposes today and in Algebra 1, it is always all real numbers. Knowing that, look at the answers. This is not it, and this is not it. So it has to be C or D. So what you're looking at is a range of all real numbers or a range greater than or equal to -4. That's interesting. Look at this graph. This graph technically is coming down and it's stopping right here at -4, and then it does what? Shoots straight back up. So your answer cannot be range is vertically speaking. It does not. All real numbers would mean it would be everything even below the -4, but in reality the graph bounces off -4. So D is the answer. This is the same style of setup. Same thing. The domain would be all real numbers, so it can't be C or D. And then you have to see, where does it come down and bounce off the ground? Bounces off at -3 and shoots back up. So in that case, your answer is going to be B, because the range is all real numbers greater than or equal to -3. Okay, scale. We had talked a little bit about a scale in class before. We had one of these on the midterm. I kind of showed you guys. This is perfectly balanced, which means they're equal to each other. On the word problem, it says each of the 5 pieces weighs 10 grams. So this is a chess piece. This weighs 10. So does this. So does this. And so does that. 1, 2, 3, 4. That would be 40. Do we know how much this weighs? No, we do not. So that's where we put in the X. Same with here. This is 10. This would be X and X. So we have 2 X's and 10 pounds. Now, or 10 grams. Now you solve it, writing an equation, solve for X. So I will rewrite it here. It'll be 40 plus X equals 2X plus 10. And now what you guys would do is simply do your math setup to solve for X. So I'm going to do this in one shot to go a little faster. -X, and then that means the 10 has to come over here. So 40 divided minus 10 is 30 equals 2X minus X, which is X. There's your answer. You may see something like that on the test. Please make sure you guys can do the math. All right, Devin's reading Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows. By Tuesday, he is at page 84.5. On Friday, he's at 269. So what you guys need to know is, what is his rate? So you find out the difference in the days. He started here, he ends here. What is that rate? This would be a 4, and then this would be 18. Okay, so it's 184. Now what you're doing is wants to find the average rate for these 4 days. And so what you would do is basically take your math. This is 4 divided into 184. So you have 4 here, 16, that's a 24, that's a 6. Look at that, old school division. Enter in the calculator if you have to, but just know what the outcome is as you go through, okay? And very last one here we had talked about today, making sure you guys know about the vertical line test. All right, vertical line test. All right, and what this is if you draw a vertical line on any graph and it passes through only one point, then it is a function. So when I draw a vertical line through that graph, you know that it only touches the point once. But why? Is it for every output there is one input, or for every input there is one output? I talked about in class today, remembering one thing. The fast food restaurant, in and out. Or think of it as eating in and out. What comes first? The input. Okay, so whenever you see is it a function, think of in and out, and you'll be great. Input, then output. Vertical line test, this passes, so this is a function because for every in, there is exactly one out. And then lastly here, there's a racquetball path. Now on this one, I wanted to make sure students understood, we're going to draw a vertical line at the 8, where x equals 8. And when you do that, you draw the vertical line like this, it crosses 2 areas. So this is not a function. But why? Okay, so label the points. So this is what you guys would label. You would sit here, you'd go 8, because that's 8 over, 1 up. And then your other one would be 8 over, and then it would be maybe about 1.75 up, right? So once you have that set up, you need to understand what are you looking at. Well, according to what the answers are, it's no, because either two x values for the same y, or no, because there are two y values for the same x. Well, what do we have up here? We have actually the same what? We have the same x values. So if we have the same x value, we have what? The different y value. So that's why, ladies and gentlemen, the answer to this one is D. That's it for part 2. Part 3 will come up over the weekend. So if you guys are seeing this on Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday, hopefully you're studied, you're ready to go. The last one is all about Desmos, baby. We're going to be focusing on it, and it should be a lot of fun. Good luck. I know everybody will do great. I've been pushing you guys hard this year, making sure you do well, and I have confidence in your abilities, and I know all of you will pass this with flying colors. Until I see you in school, have a great day.